Democrats know they have a major problem on their hands with consumer inflation sprinting towards 10% and gas prices soaring. So what can they do about it? Yahoo Finance senior columnist Rick Newman is here. Rick, really enjoyed your piece now on our site. I understand you had the chance to speak with Democratic Governor Jared Polis of Colorado. What'd you learn?
Right. So Democrats are really flailing on this one. There are some people in the House, some Democrats in Congress say, let's impose this windfall tax on oil companies, and then we can use that tax revenue to send gasoline rebates to drivers. There's almost no chance that's going to get through, which means Democrats don't have much. So I interviewed Jared Polis. He's the Democratic governor of Colorado, as you mentioned just recently. And he said, look, let's cut the fees that we can cut. He said here in Colorado, we cut the state park entrance fee, the annual fee, by almost 75%. He said, look, the federal government could cut national park entrance fees. We could cut the fee to renew or apply for a passport, and let's suspend that 18.4 cent per gallon gas tax. This doesn't add up to much for the ordinary family, but I think his point is let's at least show that we're doing what we can do. And if you really got into it and you wanted to pursue this strategy, there are a lot of excise taxes and user fees that the federal government does impose that you could take back for a little while, including excise taxes on alcohol and cigarettes. So I'm not sure that Washington wants to go in that direction, but at least he's saying, let's show that we are going to do at least the small things we can do.
And then there's the whole idea of the gas tax holiday too, right? I mean, that's something that as with anything, getting agreement on this stuff is not that easy. Even if there is this push to alleviate inflation, the gas tax in particular, from what I've read in your article and elsewhere, it's sort of controversial. Right. So again, it's 18.4 cents per gallon. There are a couple problems if you just suspended that. So the buzz phrase is, let's have a gas tax holiday. So suspend that for some temporary period of time. A couple of problems with that. It would not automatically overnight lower the retail price of gasoline by 18 cents per gallon because the retailers that sell gasoline and the wholesalers that sell it to the retailers, they would probably try to keep prices up so that they could get, the higher price based on the savings from not having to pay that gas tax. So in the best case scenario, you probably would not see prices come down all the way by 18 cents per gallon. That money also is used to finance roads and bridges. That money goes into the Highway Trust Fund, and that's a really important source of funding for road building and road maintenance and repair. So that fund is already short of money. So you'd be taking money away from an account that's already short. And then you have the political problem of putting that tax back in place, which suddenly looks like a tax hike. So it could be difficult to put that tax back in. Nonetheless, we could see something come out of Congress, and we could see something as simple as gas tax rebates, just sending checks to people to compensate for higher gas prices, which some governors are contemplating as well. It seems like by the time that would actually go through, gas prices will have come down again. But, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how motivated is Congress right now? Because, or I should say, only maybe half of Congress is motivated right now to do something on this, because it feels like the Democrats more have their backs up against the wall right now.
Right. So the likelihood that anything is going to come through Congress on gas tax relief is very low. And there actually are some Republicans who wouldn't mind suspending the gas tax. I mean, let's remember in a prior life, Republicans were the anti-tax party. So some Republicans probably wouldn't mind seeing a gas tax holiday, but they also don't want to give Democrats a win on this. And as we've seen many times on the Democratic side, not all Democrats agree. So the Democratic Party is split between the idea of a gas tax holiday and the windfall profit tax on big oil companies. By the way, if you did impose a windfall profits tax on oil companies, you would be raising their costs, and they would try to pass their higher costs on to guess who? Consumers. So I think we're just going to have to suffer through high gas prices. There's probably not going to be much relief. It is the private market and the private sector that determines this. But at least politicians are talking about it.
Rick, keep me posted on those gas checks. Sign me up for one of those. That sounds like a pretty good idea. Rick Newman, really enjoyed your
See you
piece. We'll
guys.
talk to you soon.